Hare Krishna. Thank you all for joining. We'll start with the Kirtan. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kinga Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradari Jaya Girivaradari Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Rajajanandana Jaya Rajajana Ranjana Rajajana Rajajana Jaya Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunda Bihari Jaya Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradari Jaya Girivaradari Jaya Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Brajaganarandana Jaya Brajaganarandana Brajaganarandana Jaya Brajaganarandana Jaya Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunda Bihari Hari Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Shila Prabhupada. शिला प्रभुपाद की। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलम् श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कान्त राधाकान्त नमस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चना गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। मुकुं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्यैश्वरम्. So we are reading Canto 4, Chapter 3, Text 9. Tasmin Tasmin Bhaginyo Mambrata ध्रुवं गमिष्यन्ति सुहृदद्रक्षवा। अहं च तस्मिन् भवता विकामये सहोपनीतं परिब्रहम् अरितुम्। With respect to time, if anyone wants to follow. Asmin bhaginyo mama भ्रातृभिस्वके ध्रुवं गमिष्यन्ति सुहृद्दिदृक्षवः। ध्रुवं गमिष्यन्ति सुहृद्दिदृक्षवः। अहं च तस्मिन् भवता विकामये अहं च तस्मिन् भवता विकामये सहोपनीतं परिव्रारहम्. We'll read word by word translation. Tasmin, in that sacrifice.
One by one you can do. You don't have to go together.
Thank you. Bhagineyaha, sisters, Mama, my, Bharatarbehi, with their husbands, Soke, their own, Dhruvam, surely, Gamishyanti, will go, Suhurat Didrikshavaha, desiring to meet the relatives, Aham, I, Cha, and Tasmin, in that assembly, Bhavata, with you, Lord Shiva, Abhikamaye, I desire, Saha, with Upanitam, given, Hari Braham, ornaments of decoration, Arihitum, to accept. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. I think that all my sisters must have gone to this great sacrificial ceremony with their husband just to see their relatives. I also desire to declare myself with the ornaments given to me by my father and go there with you to participate in that assembly. Purport. It is a woman's nature to want to decorate herself with ornaments and nice dresses and accompany her husband to social function, meet friends and relatives, and enjoy life in that way. This propensity is not unusual, for woman is a basic principle of material enjoyment. Therefore, in Sanskrit, the word for woman is stri, which means one who expands the field of material enjoyment. In the material world, there is an attraction between woman and man. This is the arrangement of conditional life. A woman attracts a man, and in that way, the scope of material activities involving house, wealth, children, friendship increases. And thus, instead of decreasing one's material demands, one becomes entangled in material enjoyment. Lord Shiva, however, is different. Therefore, his name is Shiva. He is not at all attracted by material enjoyment. Although his wife Sati was a daughter of a great leader and was given to him by the request of Brahma. Lord Shiva was reluctant, but Sati, as a woman, the daughter of a king, wanted enjoyment. She wanted to go to her father's house, just as her other sisters might have done, and meet them and enjoy social life. Here she specifically indicated that she would decorate herself with ornaments given by her father. She did not say that she would decorate herself with ornaments given by her husband because her husband was careless about all such matters. He did not know how to decorate his wife and take part in social life because he was always in ecstasy with the thoughts of Supreme Personality of Godhead. According to this Vedic system, a daughter is given a sufficient dowry at the time of her marriage, and therefore Sati was also given a dowry by her father, and ornaments were included. It is also the custom that husband gives some ornaments, but here it is particularly mentioned that her husband, being materially almost nothing, could not do so. Therefore, she wanted to decorate herself with the ornaments given by her father. It was fortunate for Sati that Lord Shiva did not take ornaments from his wife and spend them for ganja, because those who imitate Lord Shiva and smoking ganja exploit everything from household affairs. They take all of their wives' property and spend on smoking, intoxication, and similar other activities. So very, very beautiful purport by Srila Prabhupada. Give me 1 second. I'm just going to unshare my screen. Oh, I wasn't sharing. Okay. So there's a beautiful purport by Srila Prabhupada specifically mentioning about Sati wanted to go to his father's sacrificial um, arena, and she wanted to be with her sister as well as her mother and other relatives. I think there is elaborate discussion which has already happened on this topic. So I was thinking, or before I get there are two beautiful bhajans, and they have a very prominent contribution in our spiritual life. One bhajan is Bhajahu Re Mana Sri Nanda Nandana Abhaya Charanara Vindare Durlabha Manava Janama Sange दुर्लभ मानव जन्म सत्संगे तरहो e baba sindhure. Beautiful meaning. O mind, just worship the lotus feet of the son of Nanda, which makes one fearless. Having obtained this rare human birth, cross over this ocean of worldly existence through the association of saintly persons. On a similar plane, there is this another beautiful bhajan and trying to connect these dots together. Hari Hari Bifale Janama Gunaino Manushya Janama Paya Radha Krishna Nabajiya জানিয়া শুনিয়া বেশখাইনু জানিয়া শুনিয়া বেশখাইনু. Translation is, O Lord Hari, I've spent my life uselessly, having obtained a human birth and having net worship, having net worship Radha and Krishna. I have knowingly drunk poison. So we are here in this material world. By the grace of Srila Prabhupada, we came in contact with Srimad Bhagavatam and we are studying the beautiful narrations of different aspects of spiritual life and hearing the glories of great Vaishnavas. Also understand the principles of devotional service. Also understanding the do's and don'ts of practicing devotional service. I was thinking, based on the purport, specifically when so much has been already discussed on this aspect, I was thinking about speaking on the topic of balancing grasta life. So before I speak on this topic, I want to seek all of your blessings, because without your blessings, to be honest, it's like an ant trying to climb on the Himalaya mountain. I have no qualification to actually speak on Srimad Bhagavatam, and especially speaking on this topic of balancing Grasta life, and I'm perfectly failure in that aspect. But I felt, based on what I've been given in my spiritual life, in my in especially Pune, talking about things which I've learned, that is helping me, and I felt I wanted to share, also including the mistakes which I've done, which I highly recommend that nobody follows that route. So please forgive me about that if I have any shortcomings. Um, when we talk about balancing Grasta life, we see this beautiful purport. Sati is asking Lord Shiva that she wants to go there. And again, when I was just hearing this line, Sham Kishore Prabhu shared yesterday, when we are talking about these great personalities, they are watching at us and then making fun of us. So I don't want to be another fun because I'm already dancing in the hand of Maya. So rather than doing the mental speculation on this topic, I was thinking about, as part of Grasta life, there are so many things to manage. So many things to manage. And apparently, it looks like sometimes we go on one side of the pendulum, another time we go on another side of the pendulum. What are these sides of the pendulum? One time is we ignore Grasta life, we forget about our roles and responsibility, and we want to run so fast in spiritual life that we fall down. Not fall down from that perspective of coming out of spiritual life, but we fail to recognize how to practice Grasta ashram. Or sometimes on the other side, we think about we have to balance life, we have to take care of other things in spiritual life, we have to take care of other things in material. I have to take care of my job, I have to take care of my husband or wife, I have to take care of my children, I have to take care of my financial situation, I have to take care of my health situation, I have to plan for retirement, so many things. And on the name of all these principles, we actually give very little time to spiritual life and focus on other things. And the question comes in is, how do we balance Grasta life? Because it's not easy. Like when I see our great Rohini Nandan Prabhu, most of us who have come in spiritual life probably have come before him. But you see his enthusiasm, he's just filled with enthusiasm. So much growing in bhakti, I never thought about speaking Krishna Katha at the years of Krishna consciousness. He has been accruing. Why? Because there are no distractions. He is focused. He just has one thing. He is focusing on how to please Guru and Gauranga. That's wonderful. If we see from Grahastha's life, there are many examples. So many examples are there in scripture when you talk about Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, right? He had so many sons. Srila Advaita Acharya. So many examples of Grahastha. One example which I want to quote in today's class is Shivananda Sen. A very amazing, affluent personality. Lord Chaitanya was so pleased with him. What was his contribution? Every year, all the Navadip Vasis will come to Jagannath Puri. And now, when we talk about those days, which is approximately 500 or little more before that, there were no vehicles there for devotees to commute from there. But they were so enthusiastic to see Lord Chaitanya that they will walk for practically 15 to 20 days. And Shivananda Sen, he wasn't a very rich person. He wasn't very rich person, but he took one seva. What was one seva? Every year, he will take all the devotees from Navadvip to Jagannath Puri. And not taking them means just walking with them. He would make sure there were no hotels there on the way. He will make sure all the arrangements are done for the devotees to stay comfortably, providing all the prasad to them. And during those times, though it was a Bharat Varsha, but at the time, there were so many landlords, there were so many kings who will charge taxes on it. He would pay from his pocket, not for one time. For 20 years consecutively, he actually paid for everyone. Imagine what a blessing he would be getting. One time he came to Jagannath Puri and he told that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Mahaprabhu, this time I did not bring my wife because she is expecting. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was so happy, so much in ecstasy. He said, when the child is born, give him the name Puri Das. And after 4 months, when he again came back, at that time he told, saying that, my son is born and I gave him the name Puri Das. Lord Chaitanya was so happy. So one time when he was just coming through, again another time when he was bringing all the Navadip Vasis, he carried the funds as per the requirement, and then he came across to one province while crossing. And there was this person, a kind of under the king. He actually stopped him. And then Shivananda Sen paid the regular tax. He said, no, I want double the tax because that year king wasn't there. So he wanted to take this opportunity to grab as much as possible. So Shivananda Sen said, this is how much I pay every year. Why are you charging me double the tax? He said, no, you have to pay this much. If you don't pay, then you'll be jailed. And then Shivananda Sen did not know what to do. And devotees were there around him. What this minister did, he chained him and put him in a dark prison. Devotees did not know what to do. They were just crying and weeping. And Shivananda Sen, when he was in the jail, was thinking about, Mahaprabhu, if that is your desire, let me be here. My desire is only to please you. Tatenu kampa sumikshamano. Whatever comes on our way, we accept that as Krishna's mercy. Sometimes the rain of appreciation comes. Sometimes the rain of good facilities come. Or sometimes we are bereft of whatever facilities we may have. Even struggling for us existence, even to get one morsel of the food. Right? Here, Lord Shiva did not provide any jewelry to his wife. Everything came from because he was so connected to Lord Krishna. So he was jailed. That night, minister called and bring him here. So they dragged him and brought him in front of this Jamindar or whoever was the minister. And when they brought him there, what did this minister do? This minister said, tell me one thing. Who is supreme? I am a devotee of Lord Jagannath. Tell me who is supreme, Lord Jagannath or Lord Chaitanya? And with the gravity he was speaking, Everyone was just afraid what is going to happen now. And Shivananda Sen, with the firm conviction, what did he say? Now imagine for a situation when your life is at threat, and then one asks you who is supreme, what will you answer? Even if you know the truth, you are shying away. What should I speak, this or that? Right? We get afraid of that thing, right? When we read the salted bread, these devotees are put into prison. They are injecting so many medicines to brainwash them because they think they are brainwashed by ISKCON. These devotees are, this one devotee, this book is about especially two devotees. They pull him in. So they pull one of these devotees. They said, if you tell me, how did you get these Bhagavad Gitas? Where is your warehouse for printing? And if you stop chanting Hare Krishna, I'll release you. And trust me, this is a huge exploitation. I don't have guts to even speak about that. Now this devotee has an option to just be relieved and chant at home peacefully. If he says, I will not chant, he can leave Russia, go somewhere else, and then he says, I will not stop chanting. Following the footsteps of Srila Haridas Thakur, when he was asked to stop chanting, he said, I can't stop. My tongue doesn't stop to chant. That was the situation. So here Shivananda Sen, when he is being asked, who is greater, Lord Chaitanya or Lord Jagannath? He says, Lord Chaitanya is the same Jagannath. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate. He is the one who is the most merciful. He came here to give the love of Krishna to everyone without considering the qualification of a person. He is supreme. He's not afraid of what is coming in my way. When this minister hears that, there is a silence for a certain period of time. And he says, I'm very glad you said Lord Chaitanya is the supreme. When I went to sleep, I had a dream of Lord Jagannath. He says, I've appeared personally in the form of Lord Chaitanya to give the mercy to everyone. And Shivananda Sen is my devotee. If you trouble him, I'll give you beating. So I've understood that. And he released Shivananda Sen, and not only released Shivananda Sen, not even collecting taxes, he gave him charity. And he asked his ministers, asked his followers, saying that you make sure you escort him very nicely. What is something we have to pay? Nityanand Prabhu said, Shraddhavanjana hai, Shraddhavanjana hai, Shraddhavanjana hai, Shraddhavanjana hai. What is needed to get the mercy of Lord Chaitanya is that unflinching faith. This is what Shivananda Sen is saying. Grasta, he's not a brahmachari, he's not a grasta, he's not a sannyasi, he's a grasta. His family was completely supporting him in all this endeavor. One time, this is another pastime of Shivananda Sen. While he was taking all the devotees for Navadip, they have to cross the river. And dog was so attracted by Harinam Sankirtan, he started following devotees. The boatman said, oh, this dog is coming, he can't come. Shivananda Sen said, he's also a living entity. Pull him. He said, no, you have to pay huge sum of money. He said, okay, I'm willing to pay. So he brought this dog and he made sure he communicated to other devotees that you nicely take care of this dog. He would feed nice prasad to this dog. And then one time he had to travel somewhere and he asked this devotee to take care of this dog. And somehow the dog slipped away from them. And this devotee was searching, but he couldn't find him. When Shivananda Sen came, he was searching, where is the dog? He stopped eating because he was just thinking about so much compassion he had for this dog. He was feeling that, where did he go? Who's going to take care of it? And after a few days, when he came to Lord Chaitanya, this dog was actually in Lord Chaitanya's place. And Lord Chaitanya was eating green coconut and he was throwing at the dog, chant. And this dog was eating And he started chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And by chanting this mantra, this dog left his body. Immediately, the flower plane came from the spiritual world and then took him to the spiritual world. When this dog was taken away, Shivananda Sen offered obeisances to this dog. That is his humility. Lord Chaitanya delivered even a dog. Why? Because he came just in association with Shivananda Sen. That is the power of Shivananda Sen. Lord Chaitanya was completely sold out and he is willing to offer everything, even to a person who just came in contact with us. In Gajendra's pastime, we have been just reading that. In Gajendra's pastime, when Gajendra is offering beautiful prayers, and he doesn't even know who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but he knows there is someone who is Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Devatas don't come. The Supreme Personality of Godhead comes and then Devatas also follow him. What is the first thing he do? We request everyone to go on mute, I think. Okay. I can't figure out. That's okay. That's okay. Where was I? Yeah, he's offering beautiful prayers. When Lord Vishnu comes, what does he do? He pulls both of them. First, he delivers crocodile, who was King Huhu in his previous life. And then he delivers Gajendra and he gives him a Sayujya Mukti. Same form as Lord Vishnu. Swarupya Mukti, sorry. Now that is such an amazing quality of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and someone who comes in contact with sincere devotee. So Shivananda Sen is representing what exactly is needed for Grastas to perfect the life. But the question comes in is, can we follow Shivananda Sen? Unfortunately, no. Because he is a great soul. And what he is doing, it's in today's world specifically, even it's not possible, we can follow the footsteps thinking about how do we apply this in today's life. I was just thinking about it. How do we apply that in today's life? When I came, when I started my Krishna consciousness back in Sydney, I moved back to Pune. When I came back there, this is the most treasure moment I received there. Coming in contact with so many wonderful Grastas, following the footsteps of Shivananda Sen. There is this recent thing, recent occasion or recent thing which has happened is Mother Satyavati. She's a very, very wonderful soul. She was serving as a counselor in Pune for so many years. And it's a very interesting story I want to share. Mataji were full into Krishna consciousness, but her husband was not at all inclined. He actually came here just few weeks back. Yugavatara Prabhu के साथ जो आए थे प्रभु जी, the Jayadev Prabhu. Jayadev Prabhu is the husband of Mother Satyavati. So she was practicing bhakti with such an intensity, and her husband, they are very rich people, very rich people. Like Radhanath Maharaj used to have Pune Yatra. A lot of devotees would come and their house is just across that street. It is just a very prominent part of Pune. So she was practicing bhakti with such an intensity. Her husband was not at all interested, but she would serve him very nicely. Serve him prasad, being obedient to her husband. Now, what is the situation here? She went back to spiritual world. You know, some of us who do not know, Radhanand Maharaj, when he came there personally to see her in her house, you know what he said to her? He said, this was the Sharad Purnima time. Maharaj said, Radha Vrindavan Chandra are beautifully having Rasa Leela now. Why don't you enter there? What are you doing here? You know what she said? Maharaj, you only can detach me from this material. This material life is so strong. The attachment is so strong. And she beautifully left, asking Tulsi. She knew it when she's leaving. She asked for Tulsi, this, can you put me in my mouth? And blissfully left. External platform, we may see someone struggling on the plane because she was suffering from cancer. But she is entering to a much higher realms. What is the example she portrayed? Whether husband or wife, if one person is practicing bhakti very sincerely and serving the other party very nicely, there is such a greater opportunity for that devotee to come back and practice spiritual life. This Prabhu, he is a counselor, very senior counselor. There was only, when I came in, there was only one temple, Radha Kunjbihari temple, very small temple, very condensed congregation, very condensed, like something like what we are having it now. When Janmashtami would happen, we have to stand outside on the street because there was no, in Mangala Aarti time. If you want to be in the temple room, you have to be there at 3:30. 4:30 is the time when Mangala Aarti starts. You have to be at 3:30 if you want to be in a temple hall which can accommodate like 100 devotees. So full packed. Everyone would wash the vessels. On Sunday feast, what is the rarest seva which you will not get is washing the plates of all the devotees. So condensed. One time, Bhakti Charu Maharaj came, and this is a huge hall outside, which is like outside you see on the road. We had similar, like not exactly. I don't want to put it down, but I just want to say that was the condition. We just had that hall, and when Bhakti Charu Maharaj came and he started singing Gopi Geet, such an ecstatic environment. I'm like a neophyte devotee. I have no experience, no understanding what is the purpose of Seed's devotional life. When he started singing Gopi Geet, was such an atmosphere created. Why? Because the devotees come together to condensify. One pure devotee is there, and devotees sing in harmony with this pure devotee. Very similar thing is happening. Shivananda saying the dog, why did he attain the spiritual form? Because he came in contact with pure devotee and he attained that beautiful form. So this devotee is so wonderfully practicing, so many devotees, so many souls. They built actually new Vrindavan Chandra temple, huge temple. So many brahmacharis there, so many grastas just being around the temple, such a wonderful environment. Whenever you go out on the street, everyone is just, you see his beat back in the hand, like a Vrindavan environment. That is what has been created there. Radhanand Maharaj invested a huge amount of energy and time to bring this counselor system. Such an important part of our life. Unfortunately, we don't have in Western life or in Western arena, but this is so important because we had two paths going in parallel. One is brahmacharis attend taking bhakti vriksha, where we understand renunciation and spiritual life, how it has to be practiced. Another aspect is, well, for grastas, it's not just the spiritual life. You have to support your family. You have to take care of your health. You have to take care of your husband, wife, kids. So many things. So I come with the problems. I go to the counselor. They guide me what to do. Like one time, again, it's just the mentality because we are just, when we don't read scriptures properly, when we don't have someone to see guidance from, that is what was mentioned in NOI, Maharaj was mentioning about. We should have someone whom we can reveal our heart to clarify, man, I'm doing this. Prabhu, Mataji, I'm doing this. Am I doing it right? Should I be doing it or shouldn't I be doing that? So I remember my counselor, they will sometimes speak for 4 or 5 hours after the council meeting. Every week we'll get together. After that 5 hours speak, husband is not understanding wife properly, wife is not understanding husband properly. And if those things are not balanced, spiritual life is not going to go easy. Spiritual life is going to get difficult. Like yesterday, I want to confess here. Yesterday, I chastised Mukunda. You're not taking spiritual life seriously. I couldn't wake up for Mangala today, though I wanted to come. Though he may not be doing things correctly, but I did not treat him properly. I could not practice my devotional service this morning. It was very difficult. I had 2 alarms and I have no idea when did they ring. When I woke up at like 6:05, I'm like, oh Krishna, what is going on? So When we are Grasta, whether it's a husband or wife or children, they all are representative of Krishna. If we mistreat them, if we don't treat them properly, that ultimately boils down to our sadhana, ultimately boils down to being many, many miles away again from the platform we are in. Very difficult. So 5, 5, 6 hours, husband and wife are coming. So it gave me such a wonderful platform to practice bhakti because I was not understanding spiritual life. Like one time it happened, I decided, um, man, I don't want to do this. This is what is the purpose of job? We are the soul, we are not the body. So why do I have to focus on my work? I'll just continue spiritual life. So I'll go to my work. I'll go in the conference room and I'll read Srimad Bhagavatam for hours and hours. And I'll just deliver some document and do it. My material friends in the office, what are you doing, man? They were close friends. You're wasting your life. From different perspective, they are saying, you have to do your job properly. This point is absolutely valid. What had happened is, within 1 year, a management changed and I was in a soup. They were like giving me left and right. Rather than working 8 hours, I would work for 12 hours. I want to get out of this company because I want to balance my spiritual life. However, because I did not, I'm on the technical architecture side, which means I have to upgrade myself with the technology. I didn't do it for 1 year. So I'm far away now. When I would go for an interview, I would fail. So I wasn't getting a job. This is frustrating. And now I'm not able to practice my spiritual life. I reached out to my counselor. Prabhu, you have to make sure your job is taken care of. If you're not able to take care of your job properly, you will not be able to practice spiritual life because you need Lakshmi to manage things. You need to take care of spiritual life from all perspective, not going one side of the pendulum or other side, but it has to be a balanced life. I understood it. I spent 3 months upgrading myself on technology and somehow I got the job. There is another grasta I will talk about. This Mataji has 2 children. One is the wife, or one is the daughter, and second one is the son. Daughter came to Krishna consciousness first. She brought in her mother and brother, and her brother is actually the Patha Pradaksha Guru for my counselor. So they brought my counselor to Bhakti. They live in North Carolina, Gopinath Acharya Prabhu. So, but the father, he was an army officer. You know what he would do? He will beat them if they go to temple. Very strict. But in spite of all these odds, they practice bhakti. And she was part of my council group. I was also under the same council. One time, and I was there at that time, one time this Prabhu got sick. He became old now. Mother and they feed them prasad every day, his father, without even realizing that he's having prasad. Son is practicing nicely, daughter is practicing nicely. So they are doing it this. This Prabhu got sick. He was hospitalized. Devotees there, like here, we have devotee care, were feeding them prasad. They didn't have to go out. Everyone would go there and give the prasad to hospital. This Prabhu got a transformation of heart at the age of 60, 70. He came back home, started chanting. His wife hosted the program. We used to have council meet. 70, 80 families, 70, 80 devotees coming every week. I was just thinking about that yesterday. We used to host every Saturday, Sunday program, and then Sundari would cook for 70, 80 devotees. The only thing my contribution was just to desire to have it at my place. Because that energy after serving Vaishnavas, I couldn't understand at that time what is bhakti, but such a strong aura, such a strong energy around the whole day in the house, couldn't understand what is going on in this house. Even today, this house is rented. When whoever goes there in that house, I just come here, there is such a strong energy. That was because she was serving 70, 80 devotees every week. So this Mataji invited all the devotees. You know what this Prabhu was doing? We were all sitting on the floor. He was serving prasad everyone. That day, plate was filled, but I was just looking at him. He's the same person who didn't want to practice bhakti. Forget about practicing bhakti, was beating. That is the chastity of a wife who practiced and the kids who wanted to practice it sincerely. Another couple in our council group, young girl, started practicing bhakti sincere. She got married. Now, I don't, these are examples again with the asterisk mark which I'm mentioning about, they cannot be followed exactly. It is purely on circumstances based, but I'm just sharing so that we understand the gravity of grihastha life. So what happened when she got married? She did not get married to a devotee. For 2 months she disappeared, and I'm thinking, what's going on here? Nayan Sundari was taking care of them, so she asked, and she came out, this girl, and then spoke. She said, my husband is not a devotee. I don't want to give him a all of a sudden shock. So I'm trying to be chaste to him, making sure I give all my life, all my time to him, so that he becomes favorable for bhakti. After 2 months, this Prabhu started chanting 16 rounds. They came together and they were, I just, whenever I go to Pune, when I see these examples, so amazing. Just practicing with such an intensity, so nicely serving. There was another couple like that whom I met in GEV last time when I went for putting the ashes of Nayan Sundari in Ganga. So this Mataji came. Do you recognize me? Like, yeah, that one first Mayapur Yatra. What we would do is these brahmacharis to intensify, or for people who are just coming to bhakti, just chanting one round, for them to directly get to 16, they will take them to yatra. So we would go to yatra. So first yatra we went to Mayapur, and when we came to Mayapur, everyone, whoever was in that group, I think I was chanting 16 rounds at that time, but most Nayan Sundari was chanting, and other devotees, not exactly, maybe some of them. That experience was so intensified. After coming from that yatra, everyone started chanting 16 rounds. One time, this is first day in my, when I came back, coming back to, sorry, I'm just going here and there. When I came back there, I'll take few more minutes if you don't mind. So I was standing in Sunday feast, and there is a guilt, I can't have free of cost, I should pay something. So I said to this Prabhu was giving the plate, Prabhu, what can I offer? He said, just you must be chanting 16 rounds, you chant some extra rounds. And at that time, I stopped chanting because I lost the association of devotee. And I had a mouth open. People are already chanting 16 rounds. He's telling you chant extra rounds on top of it. Amazed with what this experience is bringing. So, when I talk about balancing Grasta life, we need to understand that material life is sparing wheel. Yugal Kishore Prabhu says that. That does not mean I don't need a sparing wheel. I need sparing wheel if something goes wrong. I have to practice my Grasta ashram in such a way so that I can actually practice my spiritual life. This body is the cause of misery. I was just going to, I just last Saturday I went to Canada. I was just passing through the place where Nayan Sundari got the booster. Next day, the whole life changed for us. I was thinking, this human form of life is so rare and it is so short. Just the next moment, nobody knows what is the next step I'll take, which will change my life forever. And I can never go back. I can't rectify that. Done. So, when we come to Grasta life, the idea is I want to practice bhakti with intensity so that I can ultimately get out of the cycle of birth and death. But it's not easy. So many distractions, so many twists and turns come in our life. Why? Like the market isn't that great. So people are losing job. I have to take care of job. Now, if you don't have a job, It affects your consciousness, it affects your chetna. That's why whenever we have good moments, what is the good moments? When at least other things are kind of balanced. I'm not saying perfect. There is no concept of perfectness in material world. In my realize that, and if you ask me, there is only one line which is so stuck hard in my life. Material life will be never fair to anyone in this person, in this life. If we are thinking, oh, I am an exception, I used to think that. Nobody is spared. Question is today or tomorrow. So when we are practicing spiritual life, the idea is if I have a family, we come together to associate with devotees and think about how do I go further. A husband has to understand the wife is the person, because of her I'm able to chant my rounds, because I don't have to take care of other things. Trust me, when this responsibility came to me, I did not understand her contribution in my life. When I had to think about men rather than one thing, I'm doing a three people job. Like when my parents are there, we are three people working. Then also there is a struggle. And when I realize it's just one person, I'm like, first year was a shock. I couldn't understand how this is going to go forward from there, because I never realized what she contributes. When I'm hungry, I have a plate in my hand. For a plate to come in our hand, there are in the temple, when we see Sunday feast, there are so many devotees working hard to make us one plate. Of course, they are making for hundreds of devotees. And when we eat, sometimes I complain saying that, oh, this is not proper, and I feel like slapping myself. And on top of it, after that, you see such nice festivals like Kirtan program, we are dancing in the Kirtan. There are devotees who are washing huge vessels. Now I realize to have a plate in my hand to honor Prasad, there has to be vegetables brought from the store. They have to be cleaned, they have to be chopped, they have to be stored in the fridge. The kids have a time to go to school. I realized, and I had much more gratitude towards my wife, which I never had before. Similar way, what does that mean for a Prabhu? I know some grastas who offer obeisances to husband and wife every day. In our congregation, we have a beautiful example of Kanan Prabhu and Hemangopi Madhuri. When I was living in Canada, I was so fortunate to have closer association of them, and I realized what a wonderful couple we have, and such an example. When I just see them, I remember Radha Gopinath. Husband is making sure wife is very well taken care of, not a single line of bitter language being spoken between them. And wife, he's always grateful because she brought him to Krishna consciousness. And same way, her reciprocation towards him. Amazing example to set to understand, boss, we can't just ignore our husband and wife just like that. Because of one person, if it's like a car with four wheels, if one wheel goes down, it affects your driving. You can't drive that car anymore. The life is exactly like that. Grasta, there is only one benediction. One and one doesn't become two, one and one becomes 11. So if both, and of course children, when they come together to practice bhakti, it's you can run in spiritual life. That is a benediction. Please forgive me, but in brahmachari, everyone is alone. I have to run my own life. I don't have someone like, if one person goes back to spiritual world, other person's life is changed because you see so many wonderful benediction coming in your life, you can't understand. But brahmachari has to walk alone, run alone. Not easy, extremely difficult for both these ashrams. But there is only one benediction, is 1 plus 1 is 11. As long as we live in harmony, we understand the role of a wife as a husband, and wife understand the role of a husband as well as children. When we come together with that thought process, it helps us to, I'll take few more minutes. I just want to focus on this point. That's the whole idea of Grahastha Ashram. The second aspect, which is so important, There is this, maybe I don't have the time, but there is this beautiful question which was this. I'm quoting some of this from my spiritual master class, Balancing Grasta Life. And he mentions there, one of the devotee asked such a fantastic question. Maybe I'll just share it after the class. I'm like, this is the quality of questions. Amazing question. He says, I want to practice my bhakti. Sincerely, very elevated devotee for sure. I couldn't figure out on audio who's that. Maybe probably Dwarkadish Prabhu. So he asked this question. Apparently looks like I'm not able to, I'm not doing it correctly. I'm not following it correctly. I know everything. In spiritual life, that's the crux of spirituality. After a certain period of life, you understand A, B, C, D, everything. What has to be done? To be honest, every question boils down to quality of chanting. If that is taken care of, everything else automatically falls in. So you understand, man. You stop asking those questions. So you're asking, I understand. But apparently looks like I'm not doing it properly. Is that because of my previous conditioning? That I'm not able to practice spiritual life with the vigor? Maharaj said most of the time, it's because of our previous conditioning. But when we come together in association of devotees, in this association of sadhus, Maharaj says sadhu does not mean the robe. Sadhu means who understand the vigor, understand the spiritual life and want to practice it with intensity. And I was just so many examples in Pune. I'm like so mesmerized. That's why Pune is so close to my heart. I can never leave that because so many devotees around, such wonderful examples, such intensity they are practicing years after years. Sometimes we see devotees disappear. But here, such an intensity they are practicing. So husband and wife, when they come together, that they take care of it. And the second one is when we come, association of devotees. Maharaj says a beautiful point. When we go in spiritual life, there are two options. One is like a lazy river. You know what happens in those kids just went yesterday. Lazy river, you don't do anything, you just walk in. Sit there, you don't have to do anything. What happens there? Spiritual life is swimming upstream. Even if you stop, I'm not growing, I'm stopping. Okay, I'll do whatever I'm doing, I'll continue practicing that. What happens? You come down. You don't go up. And now you have to struggle hard because you went 1 mile up and 2 mile back. Because we just became callous in our spiritual life. And that just puts us down. So the idea is to come in association of such devotees and inquire submissively. Be very honest. It's very difficult to reveal your heart. I'll tell you very honest. So far in my whole spiritual life, there is only one person whom I disclose. She knows everything about me. I'm like a blank. She knows everything about me. When Nayan Sundari left, and that's what when Maharaj was telling it shouldn't be wife when you disclose. And I was thinking in the mind, Maharaj, why not wife? But I realized maybe I'm an exception. Because I could share everything with her and she would come and tell everything about her. Sometimes even when this devotee did not do it well, how should I take it? And then we would discuss. I think this is how we should take. And that was the crux. So we should have someone whom we reveal our heart. If it's not husband and wife, again, it depends for individual one. Maybe I am an exception. I don't know, whatever, negative way or positive way, however way you take it. To tell I'm struggling in this life. How can I move forward? If we don't have that sangha of coming together and revealing our heart, I'm struggling. Ideally, if there is no counselor system, then it's very difficult because we have one picture here in spiritual life, but we have another picture in material life where we are struggling. I don't have a job. I don't have my financial situation. I don't have other things. Nobody knows about it. I'm struggling and I'm rotting here. And what happens? Those people side away. Oh, I have to take care of my material life. And they lose association. They never disclose that. Move away from spiritual life. Maharaj said, for a person who chanted 16 rounds for years and leaving to start again is like impossible task. But for a new person to start 16 rounds is much easier. Why? He gives an example when, very beautiful, when a fracture happens. He used a particular term which I don't know medically. So we lose the ability of this hand or whatever to do, right? This thing, right? The arm or whatever it is. And when there is a fracture, when that comes out, what happens? You have to go through physiotherapy. Hold on, why do I need physiotherapy? I was using this hand before, right? I can start using it. No, because you did not practice it for so long. Now you lose that friction. Now you have to work hard to actually get there. Similar way, spiritual life, which is waking up in the morning, chanting our rounds in the morning very attentively, hearing Bhagavatam and reading Bhagavatam. You know, one of the point which Chandramauli Maharaj said, one day he said, I'm like on the verge of death when I'm not reading Srila Prabhupada books. I was just such a strong statement for me. Every day he reads Srila Prabhupada's books. So unimportant. I didn't practice. I'm just telling you, I have, if you come, I'll tell you so many don'ts because I did so much wrong in my spiritual life. I just realized what is bhakti just 1 year back. So coming together, practicing Grasta life means first and foremost thing, respect other devotees because they are part and parcel of Krishna. And then also have someone whom we can disclose our heart. And we have to balance our spiritual life, not going on the other side or not going on this side. Most of the time, people go on this side of the pendulum, which is I have to balance my material life and I can't focus on spiritual life. So you have to take care of these things. Oh, okay, I'll take a break and I'll go here. Why? It's like again I swim upstream and I have to go 100 miles behind. Again, I have to start all over again. Am I going to just keep doing that stuff? Like on the treadmill, what happens is you keep running, you don't go anywhere. That's like walking in the material platform. Where am I going? Nothing. I'm not landing anywhere. Again, birth, death, birth, death. So why not just perfect in this lifetime? Why do we have to really bring another starting from A for apple, B for ball, and C for cat? Why not just perfect in this lifetime? And Grasta is one of the, please forgive me, Prabhu, I'm speaking. Grasta is one of the ashram. If practiced perfectly, going back to God, it is guaranteed. Not that I have to be a full time in the temple to become perfect in spiritual life. Why? I'll give you one example. Very beautiful. If I were to quote one story or one pastime, this is the pastime I'll post. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Maybe I said again, 10 paise ka circus. What is the 10 paise ka circus? Standing in the queue, there is a circus in the village, in the big tent. Everyone is, oh, I want to go, I want to go. So there is one gate for entry and one gate at the back for exit. So there's a huge queue. Why? 10 paisa. Everyone is standing in the line. I want to go, I want to go. So my turn comes. Go and man, finally 10 paise. I'm going to enjoy. I get in. There is a huge, hefty person standing, playing with the balls. Looks at me. 10 paise ka circus. Yeah. 10 paise ka circus. Come here. Gives beating left and right. So much beating. The foam is coming out of my mouth. Man, I don't want to enjoy. I want to leave. No. 10 paise ka circus. You beat. Finally, some or other, I get out from the exit gate and you come back here. There is a huge line. Hey, how was it? What was the answer? Fantastic. You should also enter in Grastha Ashram. That's Grastha Ashram. You should also enter there. And what happens? You come back and stand at the back after a few days. What is that? Forgot the experience. Maya also has a divided plan. This I don't know what is the right term. Plan designed for everyone. For Grasta, device. Yeah, thank you, bro. Grasta life, there is so much beatings on left and right. That is a benediction. Sometimes kids give you left and right. Sometimes boss gives you left and right. Sometimes health gives you left and right. Sometimes husband and wife gives you left and right. Sometimes saas bhi bahut gives you left and right. So what does that mean? Blessing. 10 paise ka circus. Boss, I'm not in the line. I'm inside now. That is Grasta Ashram. And after understanding that, you were mentioning about that 4 classes of people learning. I fall into the 4th bucket. In spite of getting all the beating, I want to stand in the queue. That is the whole idea of Grasta Ashram. I understand the peculiarity of Grasta Ashram and try to I wouldn't use the word perfect. Try to work in such a way, try to work in such a harmony so that you go together in spiritual life, helping husband and wife. Husband has a higher responsibility to take care of wife. Wife also has the responsibility to take care of husband and children. So we come together and understand to respect each other to grow in bhakti. If husband is not able to take care of his wife properly, one time Maharaj was asked by one Grasta Mataji went, and then she complained, my husband doesn't care about me. So Maharaj asked this devotee, so do you love your wife? He said, yeah. When was the last time you told her I love you? She said, why do I have to say that? She would understand it automatically. You have to showcase that I really care for you. The real care does not come by the words. The real care comes by the respect. Real care comes by offering service. When we come to this is the joke which is quoted somewhere else. I forgot where was that. When we speak to other, Hare Krishna Prabhu Dandavat Pranam, Hare Krishna Mataji Dandavat Pranam. And when the husband and wife, yes. Why? Are they not devotees? That's the important part, which means I'm saying, well, I don't care about you. I just care about other devotees because they have another picture for me. You already know anything about me. When we take things granted in Garastha ashram, that is the biggest fall down. So with this, I'm sorry I went little over time. To summarize what we talked about is a beautiful verse where Mother Sati wants to go, and then Lord Shiva is kind of just listening to her. He is not willing to go there, but he's just listening to that. We talked about balancing the Rasta life. We give an example about what devotee? From Chaitanya Charitamrita. What is the devotee's name? Thank you. Shivananda Sen. And we talked about this beautiful example about how he's practicing. And then we jump down from there to talk about, yes, these are wonderful examples. We have to evaluate, we have to emulate, we have to follow their footsteps. And I quoted few examples from Pune congregation who actually talked about, who actually practiced this. And I shared about the importance or the peculiarity of Grasta Ashram. Husband and wife have to understand how to take care of each other. And then based on NOI, I forgot the verse. I'm very poor at Sanskrit. Talking about we should find out the person whom we can disclose our heart and share our shortcomings and come together to practice. That's the whole life. So, any comments or questions here before we end? Prabhu's Mataji's. Okay. Any questions online or comments or criticisms?
Prabhuji, very powerful lecture. Thank you very much for sharing, being practicing Grihastha life, so many lessons. Thank you so much.
Learning from you all, Prabhu. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you very, very much, Prabhuji. Very insightful, very practical, very deep, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
You all are wonderful examples whom I'm trying to follow, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Wonderful. If nothing else is there, thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Very nice class, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you for joining. Thank you. Anything else? Okay, wonderful. Thank you all for joining. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Samaveta Gaura Bhaktavinda ki jai.
Jai.
Keep me in your prayers. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Bhaktavinda
thank you
ki
so much.